Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to describe what's been one of the most frustrating and really unreliable periods of time for my Honda, the 2003. So last few months I've been having some clutch master cylinder issues. So I'm going to describe the timeline for this and explain how it all worked out, and then at the end of the video I'm going to walk you out there to the car, and there's apparently not many videos on YouTube about how to replace this, so I'll go ahead and walk through how to do it. So the original master cylinder lasted until around 827,000 miles, which was mid-July of this year, 2021. So it started getting weak, and once I felt it getting weak, I went ahead and ordered a Luke brand master cylinder from Rock Auto, and that cost $43.24. I was hoping the current one would last until the other one got here, but it didn't. It failed. So I took it to the shop, hoping they could get the master cylinder replaced with one locally, and then go ahead and get me back on the road. So normally the shop has an auto parts supplier that has higher quality parts than what you'd find at, like, your big box stores like Advance or AutoZone or O'Reilly's. And so my mechanic Jamie checked on it. They didn't have one available, and he knows I use the car a bunch, so he wanted to get me back on the road. So he got a Power Torque, I think was the house brand name, but it was from O'Reilly's. So he got an O'Reilly's brand master cylinder for me just to get me back on the road. So he installed that. That was $309.24. So that's the part and labor for the shop for that. So far I've bought the Luke master cylinder I'm waiting on, and then now this Power Torque one for $309.24. All right, so that was July 20th. So shop installed that. That lasted for a few months, and then that one ended up failing. And so I went back to the shop, and in the meantime I had received the Luke brand one. So I got that. I took it back to the shop, said, hey, the other one failed here a few months later. I had them put in the one I had, the Luke. And sometimes they'll warranty work when it's fairly quick when things fail like that. And they know that I drive the car a bunch too. So I don't try to take advantage of them. I'm real forthcoming with how that works with the mileage and everything. So they went ahead and installed my part. I got charged for about an hour of labor and stuff for that. That was at 874,000 miles. So the one they installed lasted roughly about 45,000 miles. Okay, so I got charged $161.20 for that to be put in. I wasn't sure if they were going to charge me or not. They did. That's fine. So anyhow, so put in that one. That was November 15th. 8 short days later, the Luke master cylinder that I got from Rock Auto failed. It had a catastrophic failure. I'll show you here in a second. So at that point, I was done with all this junk stuff, decided just to go OEM, and that's kind of the moral of the story here, is I should have gone OEM in the very beginning. So I went on Jim White Honda. It's parts.jimwhitehonda.com, sorry. And I got the OEM part for it. It was 120.01. So I got that, and at this point I was just fed up with everything and decided to install it myself. So I went ahead and put that in. I've been running that for the last few days. It's holding up, so hopefully it'll keep working. But my total cost for a working master cylinder is $633.65. Absolutely ridiculous. So like I said, I wasn't intending on spending this much money, obviously. Didn't want it to work out this way. Everyone kind of had good intentions. Jamie had good intentions to get me back on the road, getting the part that same day that we got the car to him, so I get the car back and use it. And that part failed fairly quickly. And then, the one I bought from Rock Auto failed fairly quickly as well. So, it's pretty crappy the way it worked out, but, now I got OEM one in there. I figure the first one lasted 827,000 miles, so hopefully I can get a decent amount of miles out of this one. So anyhow, I'll show you what happened with the other ones here. So I did take this is the one from the shop. I had them warranty that one out because it didn't last very long. So this is another O'Reilly's part. It'll probably never get installed on the car. And then here is my Rock Auto one. And so look right here. So this was catastrophic failure. That bolt, that screw head there, so that bolt actually sheared off in there. You can probably see it's broken off down in there. So that caused a loss of seal here, lost all pressure. That was pretty frustrating because I was at a stoplight in the town and the clutch pedal just went to the floor and didn't come back. And so I actually had to push the car through a busy intersection off to the median on the other side there. So luckily I was able to do that safely, and then get towed home. So yeah, it's been an experience. So yeah, I made a video not too long ago about OEM parts and about which ones that I would put on the car. And I mean, definitely not that I was anti-OEM, but I mean, there's definitely some places you can save some money and stuff. But definitely going forward, I'm going to lean more towards OEM parts, because I feel like if I would have went that way in the very beginning, I wouldn't have gone through all this crap. And because I had a couple master cylinders fail on me in short order like that, it really rattled my confidence in the car. So I've never felt like that about the car the entire time I've owned it. I don't even really think twice about taking the car out on the road, even far away from home. But this time, with these failures, it really rattled me a little bit. The OEM master cylinder failed, and I was able to get the car home. But then, the other one was about 30 miles from the house. We had to tow it home and stuff. So, I drive quite some distance from the house, and, some not so great areas and everything. So I feel a lot better now that I got the OEM one on there. So I'm going to go ahead and take you out to the car and show you, kind of walk you through how to replace this thing. Okay, so here we are at the car. So, we've got several Accords, and one being the 6th gen is 2001, and we actually had to replace the master cylinder and the slave cylinder on that one, and then this one's the 2003. And the 2001 was no problem whatsoever. There was plenty of room to work in there and all that. This one is a pain. I'm an average sized dude, and it was everything I could do to squeeze in here, and that's kind of the same thing I saw in the other videos as well. And I don't even know how well you're going to be able to see this, but I'll try to point out as best I can. So you've got the brake master cylinder here, clutch master cylinder here, and then way back in there you can see there's a nut there. So there's a fitting on the master cylinder that you have to take off your current one. It's got like a staple on it. You pull out, it looks like a staple. It holds it down. So you take that out, and then you take that nut off there, and then that nut fits in the new master cylinder, and you put the staple back there to hold it in place. And then you can probably see the fitting for up on top there, the hydraulic line going in there. So the fitting on the master cylinder itself is a 17 millimeter, and then the hydraulic line is a 10 millimeter. So what you have to do is start out by removing the reservoir here. There's a 10 mil bolt right there. So you take that off, and then as you pull this up and out of the way, there's a hose attached to it. So you'll want to remove the hose. If you keep the cap on the clutch master cylinder, it won't let the fluid leak out. And so then you can get that out of the way, and then you got to get down in there, and that hydraulic line is like 90% of the problem. Okay, you literally have to take a wrench, a 17 mil wrench, and put it around that fitting, and then basically put it over there against the strut tower as best you can, and then weave your hand in there. I used a stubby 10 millimeter wrench and got up there, and you take the wrench and you have to feed it way back in there, take the wrench, and you can move it, and then you can flip it and then put it back on there and move it again, and that's one flat turn on the hydraulic line. So it took way longer than it should have to get it out of there. So you remove that hydraulic line, and then it's time to go inside the car. And this part's not too bad, but it's still a little tight down here. So let's see how well we can see with the light here. All right, so up here at the clutch pedal, so there's a couple things we have to do. Let's see. Okay, there's a good view of it. There's a little cotter pin here. You grab that with some needleless pliers, twist it, and then it pulls out. And that's a clevis pin. You push that out the other side. That's going to disconnect the master cylinder from the clutch pedal. And then you've got some 12 millimeter nuts. These studs here are the back of the master cylinder that feeds through the floorboard. So you've got 12 millimeter nut here, and then one on the other side as well. So this one's obviously easy to get to. You can see it just fine. The other side, you have this electrical box in the way, and the other one is up over on the back side of that bracket for the clutch pedal. So like a wobble socket extension works really well for this, but you'll definitely want a 12 millimeter deep well socket, and then like a wobble extension, and that gives you enough room to get that nut off there. Once you get those nuts off there, then you can go back outside and then pull the master cylinder out. The video I watched, the guys said that they had to bring out the master cylinder like below the brake master cylinder and out through the backside of the engine here, by the firewall. I didn't have to do that. Once I got this out of the way and got everything disconnected, I was able to pull a master cylinder right out this gap right here, so that was no problem. Like I said, 90% of the problem is that hydraulic line in there, and even getting it, you know, threaded back in and tightened back down just took way longer than it should have, so it was very frustrating. But after paying the shop to install 2 master cylinders, I was finally fed up with it and decided to do it myself. Yeah, it ended up working out, you know, but it just took way longer than it should have. So I got the OEM one on there now. Hopefully it'll last for quite a while. Also probably going to end up replacing the clutch after the first of the year. It's got almost 600,000 miles on it, so my springs are pretty tight and makes the clutch pedal pretty hard to press, which may be feeding into this problem a little bit. So anyhow, just wanted to walk you through this, since the other video they said there weren't very many videos of this online. So yeah, very, very tight fit, so you definitely need someone with some average or smaller than average hands to get in there. So all right, well, hope you enjoyed the video. Y'all have a good day. We'll see you next time.